Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Manuma. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namandas, namandas, namandas. I've come to feel that in a way we can view our lives represented through two buckets. One, a bucket of rocks, and the other, a bucket of water. Rocks are hard, brittle, solid objects, and they will either inevitably wear down over time slowly, or they will crack under pressure and break. Water, on the other hand, goes through a rather infinite cyclical cycle, as it endlessly changes between solid, liquid, and gas. This shows us the very idea of impermanence and how it is unavoidable. Whether rock or water, both are subject to constant change. Perhaps more interestingly, though, is despite that neither can escape the reality of impermanence, water and rocks could not be any more different. If we were to add a rock to a bucket of water, it would of course settle on the bottom of the bucket, but the rock and the water the rock and the water would still be separate entities. We could easily remove the rock from the bucket of water, and the bucket would return to its original state. However, if we should add to the bucket even the smallest drop of water, it would send a ripple through the entire bucket, and they would blend together, becoming one. That one drop of water itself could never be removed, for it has joined inseparably from all the water in the bucket. As we go on through life, the way we view and understand life's impermanence and interdependence can change the way we live, and even the people we become. Let me try to explain what I'm trying to say by sharing a series of incidents that clarified my perception of life. When I was 7, my grandmother was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The doctors all told her that she had several months to live at the most. She told them, "No, I'm going to live to see my grandsons graduate from high school." She survived over 10 times longer than anyone expected. She lasted an entire 8 years fighting stage 4 colon cancer. However, she unfortunately passed away 2 years short of my high school graduation. As her health began to rapidly decline, she wrote letters to me, one for every milestone of my life that she knew she would no longer be able to see for herself. This was her way of accomplishing her final aspiration, her way of being with me, although she physically could not. 1 year ago, I remember coming home to find that our house had been broken into. A fire safe had been wrenched out of our house, and in this fire safe lay every letter she had written to me. Her last efforts to accomplish her dreams had been lugged straight out of my front door. A stranger stole my grandmother's dying words. Someone had deprived me of the priceless final message my grandmother had made for me, and I would never be able to read my grandmother's letters that she had written to me. As Buddhists, we know that everything is impermanent. At that point, to me, the idea that everything is constantly changing meant disappearing. I grieved so heavily and felt so empty. The letters were not simply material objects. Those letters held the agonizing pain, sheer will, and also the hopes and determination that kept my grandmother going for 8 years. I felt I had failed her. I would never be able to fulfill her final message of seeing me grow up and graduate. The letters were a rock in my bucket, and that rock was now forever removed from it. It was here, at my lowest point, that my perception changed everything. Interdependence teaches us that in life we are connected. Everyone and everything that we touch is connected with us. And in this way, we are everything that we touch. Everyone and everything that we touch is interconnected with us. And in this way, we are one. What had hurt me the most was the fact that with these letters gone, I could no longer fulfill my grandmother's final dream. I could not and would not ever be able to read a single one of those letters. Objects can disappear forever. However, I began to wonder, can bonds, can aspirations, can the love I feel for my grandmother truly die? Aspirations and bonds of love can disappear if we choose to treat them as such, rocks. If we treat the love we feel like separate entities, like rocks in a bucket, or a rock dropped into a bucket of water, they could never be one entity. However, if we look at bonds, we look at aspirations, and we look at the way by which we are touched and loved by loved ones, we see that these hopes and aspirations and bonds of love we feel in our lives are not like rocks. Our bonds of love are like droplets of water. Once these droplets of love enter the water of our lives, they can never be removed. We may see the true meaning of interdependence when we truly reflect upon the love and support that has nurtured us in the ways beyond anything tangible. I would argue now that impermanence does not encompass disappearing of an entity or emotion, particularly love, because this would contradict the very idea of interdependence. My grandmother's letters were gone, but the emotion behind them, the love with which she had wrote them, still remains to this day. I'm sad to have lost these precious letters, however, that is only because the bonds of love I share with my grandmother still remain. She had been my best friend for 15 years, and that will never be undone. The way she touched me will never cease to exist, because I am still alive. In this way, my life is not my own, just as my grandmother's life is not her own. Our lives will always be interdependent and one. Therefore, as long as I live to touch the lives of others, so does my grandmother. She is a part of me and I of her, because she is still a part of me when I touch the lives of others. I'm not just becoming a part of them, I am also sharing my grandmother with them. All of her strength, her drive, and her will are bound to me. As I began my message, I said, our view and understanding of life's impermanence and interdependence can shape the way we live, and even change the kind of people we become. This change in my perception of interconnectedness completely transformed the way I treated this loss. Her goal was to be there to see me grow up and to see me become a strong and understanding person. Her hope was for me to live a happy and fulfilling life, and she would never have wanted to be the cause of my sadness. We are forever interconnected so long as I carried on with my own life and perpetuated myself through the means of positively touching others. She would be present. My grandma would be present in who I am and all those around me as well. So long as I feel the bond of love we shared, all was not lost. So long as I live in acknowledgement of her, she lived in acknowledgement of me as well. Now, for every single milestone in my life, I've decided that I would write a letter addressed to her, because in this way I acknowledged her presence and the unwavering effect she had and will continue to have on my life. My grandmother may have passed away, and her letters may be gone. However, her presence is not and will never be gone. so long as I live a life of love and gratitude for her and for those who are now tied to me. Please join me in Gasho. May we all find peace with impermanence through our own perception of the interdependent flow of life. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namanda, 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 Namanda.